Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we're diving into something seriously fascinating, the psychology behind brand loyalty. But hey, we aren't just going to look at dry business metrics today. Instead, we're looking at this through the lens of human relationships. I mean, think about it. The way a company interacts with you really isn't all that different from the way people interact with each other. Whether you realize it or not, brands are courting you every single day. So let's unpack the science and the strategy of the brand romance. So why do we actually fall in love with our favorite brands? Just take a quick second and picture your absolute favorite brand right now. Maybe it's that local coffee shop you hit up every single morning, the smartphone you absolutely refuse to switch away from, or that one clothing label you always trust no matter what. Why do we feel such a strong pull toward these specific companies? Well, modern business is fundamentally a lot like dating. Brands are actively courting you. They're trying to win your affection, prove their worth, and basically hoping you'll stick around for the long haul instead of swiping left to their competitors. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the marketing friendship, from one-night stands to lifelong bonds. To really get this, we've got to completely redefine how businesses look at their buyers. It's time to stop seeing customers as just numbers on a spreadsheet and actually start treating them like friends. On one hand, you've got the old school way of doing business, the quick, one-off transaction, the one-time sale. It's basically a brief encounter. You buy, you leave, and the brand totally forgets you exist until you happen to walk back through their doors. But on the flip side, we have the modern approach, long-term connections. Today's most successful businesses prioritize customer loyalty above pretty much everything else. They build deep trust, and they focus on mutual value creation. They don't just want your money today, they want to earn your trust for tomorrow, and the next day, and for years to come. It's a massive shift from purely transactional to deeply relational. And that brings us to a formal definition. Relationship marketing is exactly what it sounds like, really, building long-term connections with customers rather than focusing solely on one-time sales. Think of this just like a real-world friendship. You don't just meet someone once, have a quick 5-minute chat, and suddenly expect them to be in your wedding party, right? You have to nurture that relationship over time with care, consistency, and genuine interest. Brands have to do the exact same thing if they want to earn your loyalty. And think about what happens when a brand acts like a bad friend. If they only text you when they want money or totally ghost you when you have a problem, well, that relationship sours instantly. To succeed, businesses have to be the friend who is actually there for you, consistently adding value to your life. Now, you might be wondering, what actually kicks off this friendship in the first place? Well, it all starts with customer value. Simply put, this is the benefit a buyer gets compared to the costs they pay. Let's use a real-world example to ground this. Imagine you're buying a new phone. If that phone lasts for years without slowing down, has an incredibly intuitive interface, a killer camera, and comes at a price that doesn't completely bankrupt you, you instantly feel like you got way more than what you paid for. That very specific feeling, that is high customer value. It isn't just about being the cheapest option. It's shaped by product quality, exceptional service, and the entire experience you get every single time you interact with that brand. Moving right along to section 2, the loyalty chain reaction, value, satisfaction, and retention. When a brand delivers on that customer value, it sets off something incredibly powerful. I like to call this interconnected framework the secret to business happiness and commitment. It's all about giving more than you take to create a lasting bond. Here's how this chain reaction plays out. Step 1, value creates satisfaction. Step 2, satisfaction builds loyalty. And step 3, retention boosts profitability. Think of it like eating at your absolute favorite local restaurant. The amazing food, the huge portion sizes, the great vibes, that's the value. That value makes you incredibly happy, which is your satisfaction. Because you're consistently happy every time you go, you keep going back, forming deep loyalty. And here is where it gets absolutely critical for the business. Your constant return visits, the retention, drastically reduce their marketing costs. I mean, it costs a restaurant significantly less to keep you as a regular than to constantly run expensive ads to find new people to walk through the door. Keeping you happy increases their profitability. It's just a perfect win-win. Which brings us to section 3, stages of brand courtship, from awareness to commitment. And this brilliantly illustrates how these connections actually develop over time. Let's map business strategy directly onto human dating. Just like in romance, we've got 5 distinct stages here. First up, there's awareness. This is the initial meeting, kind of like catching someone's eye from across the room at a party. A brand gets on your radar. Next is interest, where you're genuinely curious to learn a bit more about them. You might check out their website or read a few reviews. Step 3 is the trial, which is essentially the very first date. You make that first purchase. And the stakes are high here. Are we a good fit? Now, if that first date goes really well, we reach step 4, satisfaction. In dating terms, this is discovering true compatibility. You realize this brand actually meets your needs. Finally, if all those previous boxes are checked consistently, we reach step 5, loyalty, the final long-term commitment. Businesses have to carefully and deliberately nurture their customers through every single one of these steps. Skip a step, rush the process, or break trust, the romance falls apart completely.
Okay, let's look at section 4, real-world romance featuring Jollibee. To really ground this theory, we're going to look at the perfect match. We are going to apply this exact courtship model to a phenomenal real-world example, the Philippine fast food icon Jollibee. Let's trace their masterful strategy right through those dating stages. For awareness, they don't just say a simple hello. They run incredibly vibrant, emotionally resonant advertising campaigns that instantly grab your attention and pull at your heartstrings. To build interest, they don't just list out menu items. They showcase their massive variety and unbeatable affordability, basically proving they have something for everyone. Then comes the trial phase. That is the crucial make-or-break first dining experience where you finally taste their world-famous chicken joy. It has to be perfect. Satisfaction is achieved not just by it tasting good once, but through incredibly consistent taste and uniquely warm, family-style service every single time you go back. And finally, loyalty. Jollibee doesn't just want you to casually like their food, they build a deep, nostalgic, emotional brand connection that turns into lifelong repeat visits spanning across generations. They seamlessly guide customers from a simple, catchy ad all the way to a true, enduring emotional bond.
Let's keep going with section 5, tending the relationship garden, strategies for connection. So, once a brand actually secures that final commitment, how do they keep the spark alive? Let's move into the actionable strategies businesses use to maintain trust and high engagement over years and decades. Building a relationship means actively, continuously engaging your customers. Take personalization and custom offers, for example. This is like a favorite teacher remembering your specific strengths or a barista knowing exactly how you take your morning brew. That highly tailored attention builds massive trust. Then we have consistent quality and service, which, let's be real, are absolutely non-negotiable baselines. But to really thrive, you need loyalty programs, after-sales support, and open communication. Think of this like a master gardener actively tending to their plants. A good gardener doesn't just water a tiny seed once and walk away hoping for a giant oak tree. They provide regular, daily care, paying attention to the specific nutrients and sunlight that plant needs to grow strong. Brands do this through continuous appreciation, checking in to make sure you're happy with your purchase, offering VIP rewards, and genuinely listening to your feedback. Let's move to section 6 and see how this builds out today. Modern connection trends, the dating apps of business. So, how is technology actually reshaping these relationship dynamics in our modern world? Welcome to the era of the business dating app. These modern trends act exactly like online dating algorithms, but for brands. Digital platforms and social media make it incredibly easy, and honestly, almost expected, for brands and consumers to interact on a daily, casual basis. Data-driven personalization allows companies to know your exact preferences, your sizes, even your favorite colors before you even speak, just like a highly tuned dating algorithm perfectly finding your match. And crucially, there is a massive shift towards sustainability and ethical practices. These serve as those deeply shared personal values in a relationship. Just like you probably wouldn't date someone whose moral compass completely clashes with yours, modern consumers increasingly refuse to buy from brands that don't share their views on global issues, environmental impact, or ethical labor. Technology doesn't replace the relationship. It just makes it far easier to find, personalize, and sustain those matches based on deeply shared values. And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really chew on. Take a look at the brands you interact with every single day. The ones taking up space in your home, the apps on your phone. Are they just pushing one-time transactional sales onto you, or are they actually dating you? Are they putting in the hard, consistent work to build a genuine, long-term relationship based on mutual value, respect, and deep trust? The next time you make a purchase, take a step back and think about the hidden romance of relationship marketing happening right in front of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep your eyes open to the business romances unfolding in your own life.